In a move that could have a massive impact on the movie industry, Scarlett Johansson is suing the Walt Disney Company over the streaming release of Black Widow. In court papers obtained by ET, the actress turned Avenger turned executive producer is claiming intentional interference with contractual relations and breach of contract. Basically, she's saying since the movie was released on Disney Plus at the same time it was released in theaters, she lost out on a lot of money. $50 million to be exact. Because back in 2017, when she made her deal, she agreed her compensation for starring in Black Widow would be largely based on box office receipts and agreed to a theatrical release exclusive to movie theaters in order to maximize her pay. Well, Disney is firing back. In fact, a spokesman telling ET there is no merit to the filing, that they've complied with their contract, and that she actually stands to earn more because of the movie's popularity on the streamer, adding, quote, the lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, they're not backing down. In fact, they are dragging her because they feel like she's dragging
Mhm.
them. It's wild.
It is a lot of dragging back and forth, and it's always a big eye opener, and it's major when anyone goes up against the House of Mouse, especially someone like Scarlett. And it's going to be very interesting to see this play out. But as of right now, it's pretty aggressive. I mean, John Berlinski, he is the attorney for Scarlett Johansson. He also released a statement to ET, which reads, it's no secret that Disney is releasing films like Black Widow directly onto Disney Plus to increase subscribers and thereby boost the company's stock price, and that it's hiding behind COVID-19 as a pretext to do so. As a part of the lawsuit, Scarlett is demanding, get this, a jury trial, which, by the way, can I get on jury duty for that? Do you think it would be a conflict of
Could
interest
you
here, a
imagine?
journalist reporting on the story? Yeah. But earlier this summer, what's so interesting as well is she told ET's Nichelle Turner what a big deal it was to be the first Avenger to executive produce one of the franchise's films. Let's take a look at that.
That actually, in many ways, was my greatest accomplishment on this film, was being able to executive produce it and carve this out of nothing. We made the movie because we wanted to, not because we had to, which was liberating in a lot of ways, and really got to focus on what we thought was the most important part of Natasha's story.
I think a question that I had was, what does Kevin Feige feel about this? Because he, of course, is the Marvel president, and he reportedly is angry and embarrassed by the suit. He apparently lobbied against the same day release, and very much wants Disney to make his right with Scarlett. As we know, he is so close and respects
Mhm.
all of those stars who have been in his Marvel films. But obviously, the impact of this suit could send shockwaves through the industry. And for more on that, ET talked to the Wall Street Journal's Joe Flint, who broke the story.
Long before COVID, Scarlett's team went to Marvel and asked about the possibility of this movie ending up on Disney Plus at the same time as it was in theaters. They sought guarantees that this wouldn't happen. And in their suit, they have correspondence with a senior Marvel executive who seems to be acknowledging that, yes, if this movie's put on Disney Plus at the same time it's in theaters, we need to renegotiate your deal. So clearly, this was something the team for Scarlett Johansson was worried about long before we knew what COVID was going to do.
Obviously, the movie industry
Mhm.
is really transitioning right now with the growing popularity of streaming, and we know it's not going anywhere. And so
Yeah.
I feel like they're definitely going to have to figure this all out. And we also know that Warner Brothers, I mean, they handle things so differently than Disney, renegotiating contracts and even paying stars for movies that debuted this year on HBO Max as if they were,
Mhm.
big box office hits. Now, do we think this is a case where Scarlett didn't see those box office numbers and wanted to make sure she got her money? Reminder, she has made 9 movies for them. Or do you feel like there was another way that she could have handled this, Cass?
No, I feel like it's very cut and dry here that she had a deal and she wants her money, Denny,
She wants
rightfully
her
so,
back in.
especially
Yeah.
especially for a project that not only did she star in, but something that is very close to her because of that executive producer role as well. It's kind of almost, you don't want to take it as a slap in the face, but at the end of the day, this is a business too, and you gotta go after your coin. And Denny, as you know, Black Widow isn't the only high-profile movie that released simultaneously on Disney Plus and in theaters, and so I'm curious to see how this will continue to play out in the entire industry, because we're hearing murmurs of how other actors seem to be watching to see how all of this goes down. Now, insiders say Disney will settle, but the ramifications of that could be huge on their own. Emma Stone, for example, she is reportedly already considering suing Disney over the release of Cruella on Disney Plus. And then you have Jungle Cruise, which releases today, coincidentally, in theaters and on Disney Plus. So it might only be a matter of time before actors like Emily Blunt and The Rock enter this mega chat as well. I mean, at this point, Denny, how does the House of Mouse stop the bleeding? What's the next move? What do you think?
Well, the can of worms has been opened, and it's something that I think both studio execs, but also agents and attorneys for these talents need to start figuring out now. In fact, of course, we don't know if these discussions started long before we got to this point, but I feel like knowing that streaming is not going anywhere, this is something that needs to be figured out and built into the contracts before the film is released. Yeah, before the film is released.